Probably not even the first doubling it up that Melissa's ever been a part of. Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beard Brigade. I'm John Solo. This is little Alyssa Gramling. We have to apologize. Last week, I had a couple life situations, and we weren't able to record, so we're kind of doubling it up this week. Probably not even the first doubling it up that Melissa's ever been a part of. But regardless, we've got a lot of new releases to go through. I know. Speaking of doubling up, how's your father?
They're in their apartment.
Look at that. So,
and have been for about a month now.
So there's no more doubling up in the bed.
That wasn't even a thing.
I don't know how it works exactly. I was going to ask you if you missed it, but apparently you're in denial, so that's just fine.
Oh my God.
I know.
No.
Just checking. Cool. Well, we got a lot to get through today, so I'm just going to kind of jump into this here. The first release we had was Left on Read. I'm pretty sure that's how we're supposed to say that. Crimson Club Book 4 by Willow Dixon, narrated by Alexander Sindis and Aidan Snow. Next, we had
Without Regrets, Cobalt Security Book 4 by Reese Knightley, narrated by Declan Winters.
Then we had Nikolai, The Brunswick Chronicles 2 by Michelle Notaro, narrated by Kurt Graves. Then we had
Roland Rogers Isn't Dead Yet by Samantha Allen, narrated by Nick Mills and Chris Henry Coffey.
That's one of those where, depending on where you put the stress of the sentence, it means something different, which is why narrators are so important. Roland Rogers isn't dead yet, or Roland Rogers isn't dead yet, or Roland Rogers isn't dead yet. Depending on where you put the stress, that can make something very different out of that.
Well, even if it was like dead yet, you'd have like the three little dots in between the dead and the yet.
Well, you could also have Roland Rogers isn't dead yet. I mean, his brother is. You could have that.
Okay.
Anyways, next we had was Wingman's Score for Puck's Sake, Book 5 by Crea Wrighton, narrated by Sean K. Rain and Simon Dornett. I hope I said all of that correctly. Then we had
Rookie Recovery, Bobcat Boys, Book 1 by Gemma Croft and Lex Easton, narrated by Jameson Adams and Tom North.
Then we had Gunner by Gianni Holmes, narrated by me, John Solo. And I can't remember if that is I think there's one more coming out after this that I did for Tantor. It's Bloom. And currently we're working on going back to, because this is a spinoff, the first series. And we're working on that. Kind of weird how they're coming out, but it's all good with me.
Yeah.
So, but Bay's going to be coming out very shortly too. It's already done. So just waiting for Tantor. Next we had, it's your turn.
I Might Be in Trouble by Daniel Alman. Narrated by Micah Adam.
That's right. If you don't know, just go quick. Then we had Under the Missile Foe, Christmas Falls Season 2 by Ry Cox, narrated by Zachary Zaba. Then we had
Daddy Bear by Jada Marks, narrated by Denver Stevens.
Then we had The Idiot, Carver Brothers Book 2 by Diana Roman, narrated by Leon DeCosmo and Tim Page, Spider-Man himself. Then we had
Hotel Pens by Robin Knight, narrated by Tobias Rain.
Just looking at that cover there, that's why bother with the sheet? I don't just why bother with the sheet?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Then we had The Rivals of Copper County by May Archer, narrated by Chorizo Michael Dean. Then we had
A Series of Rooms by A.J. Barlow, narrated by Clayton Michael Walker and Joshua Smith.
There you go. Then we had The Alpha Dragon's Cat, The Dragon Fate Games Book 5 by Hawk Oakley, narrated by Matt Haynes. Then we had
Okay. Balls and Bats, Littles of the Night, Book 6 by A. Little, narrated by Zachary Zaba.
Then we had Fireman's Carry, Heroes in Helmets, Book 1, written by Andrew Gray, narrated by John Eaton. After that, we had
Ghosts of Retribution, Medium Trouble, Book 4 by Alice Winters, narrated by Greg Boudreau/Tremblay.
Then we had Protecting Mr. Fine, The Billionaire Brotherhood, Book 4 by Lucy Lennox, narrated by Chorizo Michael Dean. Then we had
Leave It All, St. Blake's Book 1 by April Kelly, narrated by Simon Dornett.
Salmon, narrated by Salmon. After that, we had Alpha's Magic, Claimed, Book 4 by Shannon West, narrated by Gabriel McKnight. Then we had
Gloombringer, Summertide Chronicles, Book 1 by Sam Burns, narrated by Darcy Stark and Zachary Johnson.
Then we had 2000 Blades, Kings of Chaos, Book 3 by Jocelyn Drake, narrated by Kevin Shin. Then we had
Twisted Shadows, Sugar and Vice, Book 2 by Allie Theron, narrated by Joel Leslie.
Then we had Illegal Motion, The Package Deal, Book 4 by Ryland Richmond and Emerson Beckett, narrated by J.F. Harding and Alexander Sendis. Then we had
The Retreat, New York God Series, Book 2 by Andy Jackson and J.R. Gray, narrated by Kirk Graves and Tim Page.
Then we had Find Me Worthy, Safe Harbor, Book 3 by Annabeth Albert, narrated by Lance West and Elliot Sands. After that, we had
Get a Fix, Taurus Intercession, Book 6, I think that's what this is, by Mary Colmay, narrated by Gary Furlong.
You got it right. I did one of those books. I forget which one it was in the series, but it's been a while.
Yeah, you did.
It's been a while. After that, we had Until You by Felicity Snow, narrated by Tristan James. Then we had
Royal Fling, Cedarwood Beach, Book 5 by Reese Everly, narrated by Jamal West.
After that was His Remorseful King, Black Hearts by A.N. Stauber, narrated by Tyler Griffin. Then we had
Touch of Magic, Mages of Mistvale, Book 1 by Stella Rainbow, narrated by Joel Leslie.
And after that, Too Hostile by Nicole Dykes, narrated by Lance Isley and Elliot Sands. Then we had
The Holiday Boyfriend, Doves of Destiny, Book 2 by Rye Cox, narrated by Zachary Zaba.
After that, we had A Lot of Snow for Christmas by B.L. Maxwell, narrated by Guy Vreezer. Then we had
Too Hot to Hold by Andrew Gray, narrated by Gary Messick.
After that, we had Duran, the MM Paranormal Shifter Romance Assassins to Order, Book 3 by J.P. Sale and Lisa Oliver, narrated by Lil Kevy Earlywine. Then we had
Celebrating the Season, Forestville Silver Foxes by Nora Phoenix, narrated by Michael Dean. He's been busy.
Yes, he has. After that, Fly Away Home by Felice Stevens, narrated by J.F. Harding. Then we had
Must Mean Something More, a gay Christmas novella by Jay Williams, narrated by Puck Gross.
See, that could mean that it's disgusting, but it could also mean that there's a large amount of him. So one way or the other. Finally, the last release that we're going over, Interference by L.A. Witt, narrated by Michael Furlola. Ta-da! Look at that. Yeah, we got through it. Look at that. That was a hell of a lot of releases. And still came in under 10 minutes. That's amazing.
Yay!
No review this
only
week.
Because of the audio sale, that's why nothing came out, except for the publishing house books, like Tantor. And once the sale ended, basically Monday and Tuesday were just slam packed full of releases.
Yeah, the pubs typically will set up a pre-release, so in advance they've already scheduled a release date, whereas in indie it's a little harder to do, so looks like they just put those aside, which is all good.
All the pubs seem to come out Tuesday.
Yep. Thank you for putting this all together. I appreciate it. No review this week because there were so many damn releases. Melissa just didn't feel like we had time to go over it. So next week we'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel, bunches of releases. Love you all. Have fun. See you next week. Bye. Ta-da!